I'm Tom Peters. I want to tell you about something new and extraordinary in working America. Managers and workers together in an alliance for a new leadership. I've seen plant floor workers finally running their own lives on the job at a General Motors plant. Assembly line men and women dictating quality production at Harley-Davidson. Workers taking over virtually every management function at a sausage factory of all places at Johnsonville Foods. And remember your high school principal. He didn't look like Dennis Litke, and he probably didn't churn up his students and teachers the way Dennis does either.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Peters.
Thanks very much. We're going to take a trip, and it's going to have 4 stops on it. The trip in theory, because this program in theory is about leadership, was to in fact profile 4 extraordinary people. And while they were indeed extraordinary, what in fact the story turns out to be is a story not of 4 leaders, but of 4,000 leaders.
You're telling me that, while we're sitting here today, that there could very well be some group meeting downstairs that you don't know about that's voting somebody out?
That's a good point, Tom. If I hire in the people or fire the people, they're not going to get the people that they can work with the best and that can put out the best product most efficiently. They are really in charge. And if I step into that and say, okay, you're in charge, but I'm going to do this, it screws up the whole system.
Have you ever vetoed a firing decision?
No.
Never?
Never.
I guess what he's trying to say is we're teachers. We help people grow. That's my main goal, is to help people grow so they can handle all the situations in the plant on their own. Each person is their own manager.
Now, how long have you been working here?
23 years.
Was your first plant manager a teacher and a coach?
I would have to say no.
What are the adjectives or the nouns?
I would say that he was more like a dictator.
Instead of a dictator, what these sausage makers now have is a metaphysical guru in Ralph Thayer. Now let's just pause for a minute and review the bidding here at Johnsonville Foods. What do we find? Number 1, the context. Unlike Bay City, things were fine and dandy and rolling along at Johnsonville. Number 2, the diagnosis that Ralph Thayer made. Though the numbers looked okay, time and again he saw people were happy and they weren't engaged. And after a lot of thought, the way that it came out is, I am the problem. Number 3, his philosophy, the best articulated of those that we'll be taking a look at. It's very simple. Everyone wants to excel, says Ralph. Simple words, powerful impact. It's immoral, he goes on, not to allow every person to develop to their fullest ability. Number 4, once again, the work team. There's nothing they don't do. Their own scheduling, their own recruiting, their hiring, their firing. They develop their own budgets, make capital proposals, responsible for total quality control, and even responsible for new business ideas. Number 5, the middle managers. Once again, though they seem to have made the transition here, moving from dictator to teacher is not easy. Number 6, like the bottom line at Bay City, results with a capital R, maybe 20-fold growth in a half-dozen-year period. And number 7, Ralph's journey itself. It's an interesting story of somebody who really worked at it, worked at thinking about it, worked at developing the philosophy, and then worked for years at implementing it. That's Johnsonville.
To just conclude very briefly on rather grandiose terms, you're not allowed to give a lecture on anything in 1987, 88, or 89 unless the real hidden agenda is improved competitiveness. And this is a story about competitiveness, too. As one political economist who I trust a lot said, he said, America has 2 choices as an economy. And the 2 choices are to be a commodity producer of second-rate products and see if we can match the Indonesians on wages. He said choice number 2 is to join the Japanese, the Germans, the Swiss, and others and become a nation which emphasizes high value added, awesome quality, and extraordinary service.